Dr. Rick here with part 7 of this study, which has been a long study to look at, but I think it's one of the most important studies that have come out in a long time, and it just came out in 2020. Now remember, it's a retrospective study. Now I talked about retrospective studies before in that it takes a bunch of research, puts it all together, and tries to find a pattern with all the research, and this is the pattern they found, is that exercise actually helps our aging brains. So part 7 is just sort of wrap up what kind of exercises and the exercise type, which we talked about throughout this video series, the type of exercise, the duration, the frequency, and that type of stuff. And then what we're going to finally do next week is we're going to talk about a little program that you design for you that you will start to implement, and you don't have to go to a gym. You can actually do this on your own. So, what they discovered is that there's no specific research that points to a specific exercise that is beneficial. But we talked about the 3. We talked about resistance training, aerobic training, and mind-body. And what they found is they combined the resistance training and the aerobic training, and they found that that was most effective in terms of helping our cognition. They also found that combining the mind-body with the resistance training and the aerobic was even superior. Now, mind-body is a lot of things, and we're going to talk about a few mind-body stuff next week. I mean, yoga is one, Tai Chi is another, but there are other ones that can be incorporated and meld into an exercise aerobic program that may be extremely beneficial to do all 3 at one time. Now, the other thing is going to scare you, it's going to freak you out a little bit. You know, we're all told you got to exercise at least 3 times a week. They recommend between 5 and 7 times a week, almost every day. And it makes sense that it should be almost every day because our brain needs that input every single day. And I'm going to talk about later, after we discuss this basic routine of 5 to 7 days a week, about what type of exercises you should be doing throughout the day, because remember I've said that health is an all-day, everyday event. Well, every day is 5 to 7 days, all day is something a little different. But we want a core exercise program that combines the 3, mind, body, resistance training, and aerobic training, that actually has the greatest impact on our cognition, okay? The intensity, again, the intensity of the exercise, and that's kind of important because you want to know how hard should I work out or whatever. It's a mixed bag. In other words, but it's an interesting mixed bag, and I'll explain. The aerobic exercise and the resistance training they discovered should be of a high to moderate intensity to have any effect on cognition. However, they discovered the low intensity exercise also can impact the other research has found that low intensity exercise can also impact cognition, and that happens to be yoga and Tai Chi. So here we are. Early on I said the 3 combined is very powerful. On their own, they're just as good, or not really just as good, I apologize, but together they're greater than the sum of the parts, right? Or the sum is greater than the parts. That's kind of what happens, because you're hitting all the aspects of what your brain likes. The mind-body, the aerobic, and the resistance training, because we're meant to do that kind of stuff. So with that being said, that's the end of part 7, probably the end of me reviewing this research article. We're going to go into uncharted territories coming next week. I'm going to come up with a program, and you're going to see if you like that program or not, to see if something to start implementing into your life. And again, you don't have to join a gym, but it's something that you need to do to sort of help your body, your brain, to function better. That's all I have for this week. And this is Dr. Greg, changing the way we look at health.